Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and I would like to welcome you to the Akron Rotary Club's meeting today. It's Tuesday, January the 4th in the year 2022. So a hearty, happy new year to each of you. And as you know, we had to make a change by virtue of the run on COVID and how those numbers have gone crazy over the last little bit. But we're hoping that Omicron is going to be a little friendlier than Delta was, and that possibly by the end of the month, we can consider for February getting back to in-person meetings. Now, having made that statement, we're in no hurry to move in either direction, but we will decide with due diligence and wisdom on how we will proceed. But at this time, I would like to welcome past District Governor Jack Perry to come and lead us in the invocation.
Well, good morning all, and welcome to all of the PDGs and District Governor Larry. If we'd just pause a moment, bow our heads, take a deep breath, pause, and come into the present moment, clear our minds of the hustle and bustle that's around us. Creator of all, we come to you with an expression of joy and gratitude to be part of Rotary and the opportunity to place service above self. We ask your grace to provide our District Governor Larry Lohman and his leadership team with the wisdom to guide us through these times of turmoil and uncertainty. Strengthen us as Rotarians with the energy to accomplish the mission of Rotary International, District 6630, and the Rotary Club of Akron. Place on our hearts the good of the organization above petty differences that we might have with each other. Open our ears that we might hear the message of service our governor brings. Open our eyes to see the vision of the mission accomplished and the enthusiasm to share that mission with others. Touch our hearts with a giving spirit to help those who have been victims of fire, flood, wind, and loss of life. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jack, for your very thoughtful and thorough prayer. And now, if everyone would join me, I'm actually going to stand, but feel free to do what you would prefer to do for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, if you would join me in our wonderful four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Just a couple of comments here. Today is a very, very special day, and as Jack made reference, we have a number of visitors and a number of past district governors. And before we welcome any other guests, I wanted to take the opportunity to welcome them. And Larry Lohman, who is our district governor currently, will be sharing with us a little bit later today, and you'll be hearing more about him before he actually does bring his message. But I wanted to welcome our past district governors from Akron, and then we'll get the other visiting past district governors. We're rich and blessed here in our club with the leadership that we've had through the years, and we've been very, very well represented with the leadership from our club of past governors. And I would just like to recognize Stu Buchanan, Jack Perry, who you just heard with the prayer. Also, our own beloved Cheryl Warren, who continues to be very, very active in our week-to-week meetings. John Reyes, who was our past district governor just last year. And then we are privileged today to have visiting with us Beverly Jen Skurzinski. And Beverly, welcome. And also along with her, Pat Myers, a past district governor, and Michael Davanzo, past district governor. And have I missed anyone else there, dear Cheryl? Okay, I think we have covered everyone. And so at this time, David, do we have any other guests that are visiting with us today?
Yes, Steve, we do. We have like to welcome back Claudine Schooley. So she is joining us today. There's Claudine, and I'm looking real quick here to see if there's any others. And I do not at this time see any other guests.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, we did, as I mentioned earlier, we did have to scramble a little bit after we were blessed to be able to end the year on a very positive note with the wonderful Christmas party we had at Bounce Innovation Hub. And that was exceptionally well attended. We ended up having close to 60 people, and the food, the atmosphere, the fellowship was nothing short of amazing. Thank you to the team that helped put that together. Everybody from Colleen to Brian to Nicole to Thane, and then we had Laura, we had Mario. David Hall was a big help, as he is always with a setup and tear down, and it was just great to be together and to go into Christmas having spent some time with friends that we hadn't seen in a good while. But then again, boom, going back indoors. I guess it's no surprise that COVID began to rear its head, extra strength, to the point where we've seen numbers that the state of Ohio and the entire nation have not seen in new infections. And so the good news is this, is that Omicron is not as deadly, it's a fair word to say, as the Delta virus has been. And depending on who you listen to, and I know Dr. Fauci has shared and others, scientists as well, we may be reaching herd immunity by the end of January, possibly into February, and which would take us from a pandemic to an endemic. And let's pray that that is the case, which then would allow us to return to, I guess we would call it a new normal, and then be able to get back together in other ways than just our meetings. But the meetings are wonderful, but to be able to get out with service projects and more involvement in the community. There are a number of things to kind of be happy about as we move forward. And I know that next week in particular, Katie Miller has done a really fine job with our guest speakers. And we have the new superintendent of schools who will be sharing with us next week. And by the way, whether it's Akron or Cleveland or Cincinnati, these dear superintendents have a lot on their plate as it pertains to what do they do over this next little bit. So if you're a praying person or wishing good thoughts and well wishes, let's wish our leaders really good wishes and wisdom as we move forward. So with that, is anybody happy today? Anybody happy? And Cheryl's going to be watching the screen to see if you want to share.
If you want to raise your hand or use the raise hand feature, either way, you can unmute. Anybody happy? Go ahead, Susan Colville Hall, please. Just unmute.
Yes, I'm happy because Steve has had a very positive recovery from his shoulder replacement surgery. And I'm also happy because we have now two candidates for exchange going out from our club plus the summer exchange. So that makes me very happy. I will pledge $5 and also to see Claudine Schooley here, as well as our district governors, our past district governors. Welcome all.
And we have Katie Miller.
Hi, everybody. So I shared just a couple of minutes early before we got on. So I have $3 happy for my 3 daughters. Our oldest daughter has left the nest and moved into her own condo, just real close to us, but she's not here. Our youngest daughter was returned to Daytona Beach safely last night with no flight delays, and she is back at her house. And my middle daughter doesn't live here, so we have an empty nest, and it's very nice. But also the third for my middle daughter, if you're on Facebook and you follow me, you should, because my grandson, who's 2, got mad that he had to take a bath last night and decided to pack all his blocks and run away. He's 2 and he went to the garage door, and when my daughter said, "Where are you going?" he said, "Papa's," which means his grandpa. So it cracked me up. I can't quit looking at it because he just has this look on his face like, just try and stop me. So that made me happy.
Thank you. And Claudine.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I have 2 good news to tell you. The first one is the global grant with Ukraine was finally presented and submitted to Rotary International. So on December 31st, so that was my deadline. So we kept a deadline. It's a grant of $82,341. Who will provide training and wheelchairs for kids in Ukraine. So I'm very excited about this grant. And also the other news is my new club, E-Club of One World in California, elected me president-elect nominee. Okay, and I send $5 to Mela. Thank you.
Thank you. Mela, you are up next.
Okay, Happy New Year, everybody. It's good to see you all. Okay, it is chili open season. As you all know, we are a month away from the chili open, so you're going to be hearing lots from committee members, myself, our chairs. It is crunch time. So we've raised over about $200,000 towards our goal, which is fantastic. I've had great success with corporate sponsorships and things like that. But it's time, we need to sell those raffle tickets as always. After the holidays, we do the big push for auction items because we do a wonderful online auction. And so Nicole Major is going to start pushing you guys to think about things that you maybe receive some things for the holidays that you would like to pass along, and we can put them into baskets. So please think of that. Dr. Rob has his wheelbarrow of cheer again, and so we're looking for bottles of alcohol. Wanda has her wine refrigerator, and we're in need of 18 bottles of wine. So please think of any type of experiences or things that you're willing to donate, and reach out to us because we'll be happy to make arrangements to pick those up. So thank you again, and here we go.
Gina Kay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have $5 happy. I am enjoying my new position with Red Oak Behavioral Health. I am their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer.
Well, congratulations. And did I see any other hands up? Well, I'll go if nobody has their hand up. I'm going to round up to $10 to welcome all the district governors, to welcome the district governor and all the past district governors who are with us today, and our guest Claudine. Anyone else?
I'm going to give $10 also. And what I wanted to do is I want to do it on behalf of all of our past district governors and the visiting district governors. But one for rejoicing with Gina Kay and her new position at Red Oak. Really thrilled for you with all that's going on there. Another one for Bill Manby Jr. and Sr. We'll put a couple there. As a result of the Super Learning Center, they had their big party, their Christmas party on December the 16th. And there were a few of us that were able to attend. And the Manbys have been involved over there at Super Learning for over 25 years. And Bill Jr. Took up his usual role of Santa Claus. But the real joy of the day is just watching these kids. They're just an amazing group of kids, and you can feel the love in the place. And Lynn, who heads up Super Learning, has done such a fine job. And I've mentioned in the past, if there's one thing that our club does really, really well, it's to serve and to love children. So congratulations, Bill Jr. and Bill Sr., and thanks for that continued ongoing work. I also have one quick question for Miss Mella. With everything going on with COVID and such, has that affected the Chili Open in any major way?
We'll be discussing that this week, and we'll keep you in the loop. We're going to be meeting with the leadership. We have a leadership meeting on Wednesday. I believe you're on the calendar to be invited to those. So that will be a topic of discussion.
Okay, thank you.
And since it is primarily an outdoor event.
That's a great point. That's
Yeah.
That's a really, really good point.
And talking with Summit County and everything like that. So.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Is there any other news or announcements that anybody that's on this Zoom call would like to share at this time?
On Happy Dollars, I would like to give 2 Happy Dollars for our governor, and somebody can get me a Happy Dollar for each of the other PDGs online.
Thank you, Chad.
23 PDGs. That's all, just 23 of us.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
It's fair.
There you go. All right. Well, at this time, it's my privilege to introduce our current district governor, and he's really not a stranger to our club because Larry presented, I think it was a little over 2 years ago, when he was sharing the wonderful news of the water project that his club has been involved in for a few years in El Salvador. And Larry has actually, it's almost as if he was born Rotarian, in that he grew up in serving his community with his dad's club in Cambridge, Ohio. And right from the get-go, he was always involved with different service projects and fundraisers. He is also among a rare club of young men and now young ladies who are actually going for this as an Eagle Scout. And he's always served in his church and it's his youth group in particular, as well as with the American Cancer Society. And his home club has been the Kent Club, and he's been a member since 2007. Lately, and in the last number of years, Larry's been involved in writing, fundraising, and administering several global grants. And again, one of those big ones, projects that he's been involved in, has been bringing fresh water to folks in El Salvador. And if you know anything about the world water condition, you realize how tremendously blessed we are in this great nation of ours. But prior to some of the wells going in down there, folks were having to walk a mile each way to pick up the water and then to get it back to their homes. And so we're exceptionally fortunate, and tremendous work that the Kent Club has been involved in. Currently, amongst his other work efforts, Larry is involved in the locksmith and security field, and he's the project manager for Zenith Systems. But heart of hearts, his real joy lies with his family and his wife, Heather. They've been married for 20 years and they're blessed with 2 teenage daughters. So right now, it's my privilege to welcome Larry Lohman. And Larry, we look forward to hearing what you have to share.
Well, thank you for having me back to the Rotary Club of Akron. It's been probably a couple years since I've been here, but every time I've been to one of your club meetings, it's always been a great experience, whether I've been presenting or just been a guest. So thank you for the support through the years. As President Steve said, it's the last time I was here, I was talking about water projects. And just to give you a little bit of an update on the project that you guys were, very key in support, which was in El Rodeo, El Salvador. That project completed in December 2019. And originally that was going to support 60 families. So approximately about 180 to 240 individuals. By the time the project was completed, we actually doubled that. We are actually servicing 120 families out of the grant that we wrote and supported. That actually is about 350 to 400 and some odd individuals within the community that have water now and don't have to walk. That community in particular was a mile walk each way. It wasn't necessarily a torturous one like some of the other villages which I visited down there. It was rather a flat walk to it, but the water was on somebody else's property. They were technically stealing water. So we helped buy that property for them and secure water for many, many, many generations to come. So that project, is very special to myself and to many people in our district, as well as obviously those families that we impacted in El Salvador. So it is great to see all the past district governors here. I see past district governor Pat Myers, who I served with this past year and continue to serve with. Cheryl Warren, who I think is the one person that does everything in the district, it seems like. Stu Buchanan, who, after this past year stepped out of his end polio now position, because he was the one who was responsible for our great Indians night at the Indians games to raise money for polio, as well as the Cavs games. And he would get out to clubs and talk. He stepped down because I asked him to step up and be the chair of the advisory council for past district governors. And he's graciously done that for me. Jack Herrig, we can't say enough about Jack and his generosity and, his just love for Rotary and everything we do. John Reyes has been a real mentor to me over the last number of years. And I'm very, very thankful for that. Mike Devanzo has stepped up and is my secretary this year. And he is doing a phenomenal job helping guide me through this year. And Beverly Gent Skrzyński, she was the governor my presidency year while I was at Kent. And that was the same year I stepped into this governor line. So, Bev and I have been together for a while. And as I was coming into this year, I asked her to step up to be my vice governor. So she graciously accepted, and she is serving as my vice governor now. And she has been a godsend to me this year, helping me through this year. So we also have quite a few other people that serve on committees here. If I go through all the committee members on this call, I think that will be my whole program. But thank you all for serving. One person though, in particular, Sandy Narragon, is our chair for our grants committee. And that is a very, very active committee. And it's very important in our district. It's the one that helps us get these global grants like I just spoke about. So thank you, Sandy.
Thank you. You're welcome.
But, you know, Steve started talking about my history, and I did. I started out as a young boy in Cambridge, Ohio. I think my father first got me involved probably as soon as I could walk, going to service projects. I can remember as a little kid, every summer we have the Salt Fork Arts and Crafts Festival in downtown, or in our park in Cambridge. And the Rotary Club had a booth there. That was their major fundraiser for the year. They would sell popcorn and pop. And I can remember standing behind the tables and reaching up and handing people popcorn. You know, I couldn't see over the tables. I had no clue who I was handing it to, but my dad had me there, you know, helping out. And I did. My brother and I both, we were at every service project that we could be at, fundraisers, as long as it was family oriented. We were there as well. And, you know, I'd walk around and talk about Rotary as a youth, whether it was in the community, just to somebody random, or in my school, talking to my friends, say, what'd you do over the weekend? Well, I was at the Arts and Crafts Festival, or I was at a whatever event was going on, festival was going on, helping out. And it was amazing because back then I don't remember anybody ever asked me what Rotary was. Everybody in my community tended to know what Rotary was. What we did, you know, it was, the communications were a lot different back then with mass media. The newspaper always had Rotary on the front page. And it really didn't matter what service organization it was, you heard about it. You know, as I've, you know, kind of grown, gotten into college, got into my professional career, and I still talk about Rotary even before I joined the Rotary Club of Kent in 2007. You know, I started getting more and more questions on what is Rotary, and, you know, aren't they just you know, a group of businessmen that are doing whatever? You know, would be comments that I get. I'm like, you know, I tried to explain to them what Rotary was. I started wondering why that was going on. And, you know, I've sat and thought over the years, and I've realized that, you know, through the years, I think somewhere along the line, we as Rotarians have forgotten how to tell our stories. And, you know, if you look back, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, as I was saying, you know, I was talking as a youth about Rotary. And somewhere, you know, in that time period, I stopped, kind of weaned off, but because I wasn't as involved. But when I got back involved, you know, those stories, I didn't hear them. I'm not seeing them in the newspaper. Not hearing it on the radio, not seeing it on TV. You know, we do a great job when we get together at meetings, district conferences, foundation events, whatever it might be, and we tell each other stories like crazy. And, you know, that's about, a lot of times that's where it stops. You know, so, you know, as I was coming into this year, I was looking at focuses of what we should focus on. And my main focus has come down to is helping clubs communicate back out to the communities. We're doing it, you know, and I'm doing this through a couple of different ways. Obviously, Steve, through our time in training last year, you heard me many times say, okay, well, what we're going to do for club visits is we'll do traditional. I'll give you options. You know, first option is to do the traditional club visit like I'm doing right now. Another option, which was the one I, you know, was really pushing, was to have me out to a fundraiser. And when you have me out to a fundraiser, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring somebody from the district, preferably our public image committee, to help take photos, help write a story, and help get that communications out to the community for you. It does a couple things. One, it frees up your club to be actually focusing on your benefactor. Two, it gives, you know, it gets communications out. And we also, with our committee, we have many people throughout diverse types of media, whether it's mass media, social media, digital media platforms, and that is their specialty. So they know how to get the word out. So we're going to be using them to do that. Now, I wouldn't stop and say, okay, well, I've just had you to a traditional meeting, so does that mean we can't have you to a service project? Oh no, please ask me to come to a service project. I absolutely love to come out and help. Actually, half of my visits to clubs so far this year have been service projects. I've been to probably about 8 or 9 at this point throughout the fall. And I have several clubs that are just waiting till spring comes for more service projects. So please, if you have service projects, please get with me. And if my schedule allows, I will be there. And I will bring still somebody to help take photos, to help write a story and help get it out to the media for you. So, that is, a promise that I will make to all of our clubs, that I want to make sure that we are teaching our clubs again how to communicate out to our communities. When I say communicate out to the communities, when we do a press release, I'm asking the Public Image Committee not only just to release it to the local community, but all of District 6630 communities. Because the one thing people aren't necessarily going to look at it for their local club, but they're going to keep seeing Rotary in the news. And that will help build the knowledge in our communities of our clubs and what we're doing, whether it's locally or throughout the district. And then when you're going out, the hope is that you go out now and you start talking about Rotary and people look at you, oh, you mean the organization that's doing this did this project over the weekend for the local school system, the local park district, the local DD board, whoever it might be. And the next question when they say something, start leading with those comments is, how do I get involved? And guess what? You just got the best lead that you could get. Those people are already looking for a way to get active in helping communities. So that is the number one thing that, I'm focusing on this year. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'd be more than willing to happy to talk with any one of you and how we can further this. The other thing, I've looked at throughout my years, a big focus of mine has been our youth. When I was president-elect at Kent, I helped bring in the Interact Club for Roosevelt High School in Kent, as well as reestablish the Rotaract program at Kent State. They were two of my big focuses through those years of development to my presidency. So I want to carry on something with our youth again, but I wasn't exactly sure, and I want it to be impactful and something that's going to sustain through many years. So instead of coming up with something maybe myself, I reached out to an individual in our district, Chelsea Talty, who is the chair of our Interact committee, and asked for her suggestion. And her face just lit up as soon as I asked her, because she already had something in mind. And that was, a alumni style association for all of our youth services. Right now, a lot of times when our youth leave high school, we lose track of them. Not always. Some youth, stay in contact with us. They come back to meetings, but a lot of times we lose track. But even more importantly, even before they leave high school, we want to direct them on to the next level of Rotary. So we want to direct them on to a Rotaract program of wherever they're going. So that would be another goal of this committee, or this alumni group. And so we're working through that right now. We are putting a new committee together under the Interact and Rotaract committee right now, which come next year will split into 2 committees, one for Rotaract, because Rotaract now is not a youth organization. It is a young professionals organization. They are Rotarians under the Rotary flag. So We will divide them out, but at least we're going to get the program rolling. And actually, I have asked one individual from your club to step onto that committee, and she has graciously said that she would try it out. So thank you, Olivia, for doing that for me. But so we're going to work on that as well. We want to make sure that our youth, as they move on, that they're still involved in Rotary, and that we are directing them so they become Rotarians in their future. So again, both ways, both of our focuses this year, ultimately work towards creating better membership within our clubs. So, but those are the two main focuses. Some things coming up though, obviously our president-elect trainings are in full swing. Dave Jones, our district governor-elect, has been working hard with our leads team, and Ryan Knotts, who is our chair of our leads, to put on those programs. So, very much encourage your president-elect to really get involved. I think Dave and Ryan have some great things going on in the trainings this year. Also coming up, is our district conference. That will be April 22nd and 23rd at the Sheridan Suites in Cuyahoga Falls. So just up the road from you. We are in the process of planning right now. We do have some fun activities that we're hoping that we're going to be able to pull off. We have some great speakers already lined up. Matter of fact, they will tie back into our water projects that we have talked about. So, if as that date comes up, one thing to think about is have your club meeting there on Friday the 22nd for the week. Get the members there, have them there for lunch. It'll be a great time. Stay for dinner too. It'll be even better because we'll have our speaker that night. So our first speaker. So we do have a lot of great things going on. We had the foundation gala here back in November. And this year we did things a little differently. Our foundation gala, we did hold it at Windows on the River again up in Cleveland. And instead of having the auctions that we've had in the past, the silent and live auction, this year we decided to do a service project. And we asked for donations of gloves, mittens, hats, scarves, socks, anything to keep our individuals warm throughout the winter months. And what we did is we did disperse those with the help of District Governor nominee Julie Brandel of your club, to all the districts throughout all the clusters throughout Northeast Ohio. So every cluster had benefit from our foundation gala. And we did collect all the way through Christmas. So we did have a couple clubs still bring in more items up to about the Christmas time. So it was a great event. We had several hundred items that we were able to distribute out. So with that, what I'd like to do is open up for any kind of questions and answers. So if you have questions, concerns, please ask them, and I will try to answer them the best to my ability. I can't see hands raised, so if somebody could help me out with that.
I'm watching for you, Larry. I do not see any hands yet. People can unmute.
Well, I see
Katie Miller.
Katie
There you
just
go.
popped up on my screen.
Yeah, so as the programming chair and you mentioning having a meeting at the district event, that would be, and I forgive me for not catching it. Was that a lunch meeting, an evening time?
That would be up to your club when you want to do it. We're inviting clubs to have their meeting at lunch on Friday.
Okay. All right, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
So,
Larry, I have a question.
Sure.
In response to your youth and the things you want to do with youth, could you touch a little bit on the other aspect of that? And I know John's on here too, but that's the youth protection piece of that. I know that that's really come under underway with your term. And I'm just wondering if you can enlighten some of us about that.
That may be something better for past District Governor John Reyes to discuss, as he is the chair of that committee. But this is something that hasn't just come on under my year. This actually started several years ago. And thankfully, John stepped up and chaired that and continues to chair that committee. And John, do you want to say a couple words about that? I think you're better fitted for that.
A couple words. It has been actively in process now for about 3 years. Everybody, I suspect, knows or should know that the district has in fact adopted a youth protection policy. It's on the website. When I give my presentation on this, I always say, if you have any trouble finding that, there's someone named Cheryl Warren who can help you locate it. There is a substantial committee. That committee has presented 2 orientation sessions. I know several members of this club attended those orientation sessions. They were held in August and September. Once the entire system is in place, it will be designed to orient every member of the district in youth protection. And for those who are more heavily involved, and in this club, of course, there's extensive involvement with youth. Susan spoke earlier about youth exchange, but of course, the camp, the Interact Club, and so forth. There will be some things that will need to be done to comply with Rotary International's requirements, although more particularly the insurance carriers that cover us for all of this. And that will include things like background checks. You have, I believe, Chaz Billington serving as the youth protection officer from the club. He and all other youth protection officers will be invited to some special training a little later in this first quarter. And then the mass rollout for all of us will take place, hopefully, shortly thereafter. That's kind of an overview, Larry. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you or anybody else may have.
All right, thank you, John.
Katie, your hand is up again. Oh, no, it just didn't go down. Okay. Any other questions for District Governor Larry? I guess, Larry, could you tell us with your water project, what is your next step with that? Where does it go from here? We've heard about what you've done in the past, but where are you going now in the future?
In regards to the water, so right now there is another project that we're working on. It's a smaller project. I actually will have Rachel Kearns from the Rotary Club of Kent will be reaching out to you and multiple clubs throughout the district who have participated in the past and new clubs that are interested in participating. But we have 2 projects going on right now. They are solar retrofits, I believe, on this one. Down in one's in El Salvador and one's in Nicaragua. The one in El Salvador, and neither of them can I pronounce the name of the project. I will just murder it. So, but the one in El Salvador is interesting because it actually is encompassing, I believe it's 10 different villages they're all grouped within probably 4 or 5 miles of each other. So they're very small villages, but they all run off the same water source right now. So what we're going to be doing is adding a solar system in to control the existing water supply that is there for the villages. This will lessen the monthly cost per household. Right now they're paying probably 30 bucks a month for their water. The average household there makes probably anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a year. So do the math, it doesn't work out. But it'll reduce their water bills down to per month about $3 to $4. So that's where we're moving right now. And I would, keep your ears open because I believe that Rachel will be reaching out to you guys.
So Larry, we're really at no loss here in Northeast Ohio from big thinkers and shakers and movers, as it were, in Rotary. I mean, we heard earlier the work that Claudine is doing in Ukraine and the grant that she's got going. And by the way, having lived in Ukraine 25 years ago, she has hit a grand slam with looking to bring wheelchairs into that nation. It will bless and impact more lives than you can imagine. Now, back to the question that Cheryl had raised with your involvement in El Salvador, and you've been down there, I would guess, on numerous occasions. What would your guess be for the number of communities that are still yet to receive a well or water? I mean, what would your guess be of something of that nature?
Well, the current statistics down there is that we have, through the last 20 years of Rotary being in there and other organizations, we've been able to give at least 95% of all villages water.
Wow.
Or drinkable water. We still have about 5%, and those are going to be the hardest ones because they're in areas that don't necessarily have a spring and they don't have good area to drill wells. So it's a very, very difficult, these are going to be difficult ones, but it doesn't mean we're backing down. We're still going to be moving forward, trying to figure out ways to get them water. Some of them may be that we have to build a reservoir or something like that. Not sure how that will work.
How does that relate to other Central American countries?
It's very similar. Nicaragua, you know, it's in the infancy of water projects coming in right now, just because of the civil unrest that has been in Nicaragua for many, many years. They probably are only in the 30 to 40% range of villages having fresh or clean water. So Honduras is probably about 50-50. Guatemala is a little bit more. They're probably about anywhere, probably similar to El Salvador. Outside that, I'm not sure, you know, Costa Rica or anything like that. So, but one thing I did forget, you know, and I was just thinking about is, you know, we've talked about, you know, I talked about members, raising membership through the two focuses. Our membership committee is going full throttle right now, and they're actually going to have a roundtable here on January 15th. I believe notices have gone out to probably club presidents and secretaries. It will be a very good program to get involved with. Peter Tuttle has done a great job over the last year putting together this committee. Our district governor nominee designate, let's put all the names into that. Dale Smith is one of the active individuals on that committee as well. And they are going to have this roundtable, bring everybody together and try to, you know, have all the clubs bring their best ideas to that table, as well as disseminate some things that they've learned from clubs outside the district or from other district groups or zone, you know, groups. So, you know, take a look for that, be watching for it. It would be a great thing for your club to be part of. So, because you do such a great job with everything in the area, especially when it comes to, you know, your service project with the Chili Open. I mean, that is phenomenal. Hopefully I can make it out there. Is that on February 5th? Am I right on that date? Okay. I will try to make it out in the afternoon. I'll be in Columbus in the morning, but so.
You brought up Dale Smith, and Dale was a guest speaker, I want to say about 6 weeks ago. He brought in a young woman from Be the Match, and he had shared with us what the Mentor Club had done and how well received they were in having the testing done to help folks with leukemia and other blood diseases. And so we've been working to kind of pull the pieces together, as it were, with some of our connections here with Doug Hoskonek, who is a past president of our club and has been very much involved at the University of Akron and very much involved with Rotaract. And most recently, too, we've opened up a relationship with 100 Black men. And that particular segment of our society is the least represented when it comes to having folks available to be the match. And so we're looking to hopefully, in partnering with Dale and Tanya and Doug and the University of Akron and 100 Black men, to possibly be able to pull this off at the university sometime in the spring. So if that becomes our reality, which we think it's pretty close to becoming, then we'd love to invite you to that service project, but on one condition. You talked about it as a little guy bringing all that popcorn, so maybe you can pass out popcorn.
What was that? Oh, popcorn. So I'd be very happy to be there. So we'll discuss the popcorn on the side.
Harry, I have another
So-
question,
Yeah.
if I may. What about Rotaract? What changes are forthcoming with Rotaract that you foresee? I mean, we've got obviously a community-based Rotaract club, and unfortunately, they're not on today that I see, but they have been coming to our weekly meetings and participating in our service projects. So I wonder if you can enlighten us on what's going on in that area.
I can talk a little bit on it. We have been informed that, Rotaract is still going to stay separate technically of Rotary in a way, but they will still be considered Rotarians. They have designated that there is a community-based Rotaract, and then there is a university-based Rotaract. Now, I'm trying to get some clarification because we have an opportunity to have a hybrid style one, and I don't know if that's plausible at this point. So I've got questionnaires out and I'm waiting on answers. But as of July 1st, the one big change to Rotaract is that Rotary International will be charging a membership fee per member. The university-based will be $5 a year per member, and the community-based will be $7 a year per member. So that is probably the biggest change that we have coming to Rotaract at this point. Cheryl, I hope that answers your question. That's about all the information we have right now.
No, it does. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Larry, I have one last question because
Sure.
you talked about from just being a little guy, attending meetings and serving and such. Is your father still alive?
My father is still alive, and he's a member of the Rotary Club of Kent with me. He is the one who brought me into the club. So yes, and the funny thing is, my younger brother, I always thought Rotary was because of our lineage being 3 generations ahead of me, and all in the Cambridge Club, that we had to join Rotary. It wasn't an option. And then my brother went out and joined the Masons. And I'm going, wait a minute, what happened to Rotary? My dad goes, you know what? It's all service, so.
That's great. That's great.
But Steve, we do have a tradition though, that started under past District Governor John Reyes's year, and Rotary International President Mark Maloney introduced a new piece of attire for our wardrobes. And so since John's year, we've been giving this out to every single president in our meets. And so the next time I see you, I will actually give you yours. But we have themed socks that we give to all of our presidents. So you'll be able to wear these with pride. And I know Cheryl will make sure you're wearing them for me. Oh.
Well, thank you. And let me say this, the little piece of tire will mean a lot because both of my grandfathers, one of them worked for Goodyear and one of them worked for Firestone. And so that'll mean a lot. So thank you so much.
Yep.
All right. I believe that unless there are any other comments or questions, we have come to the end of our time together today. And Larry, thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the continuity and the lineage that your dad set in motion. And we just appreciate you being with us. And we will take you up on inviting you out to a service project. And if your schedule allows, I know we would be honored to have you stick your head in for the Chili Open on February the 5th. And so thank you. And thank you to each of the past district governors for coming and joining us today. We're honored to have you with us. And again, thank you to all of our Akron past district governors. You really have set the bar nice and high for all of us, but it is reachable because you all have been such mentors, as it were. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And then we'll look forward to getting back next week on the 11th with Christine Fowler-Mack, who is the superintendent at Akron Schools. So everybody have a great end of your week. And Cheryl, you can ring the bell.